interpersonal violence at Princeton. We are a coalition of university students working to end sexual and interpersonal violence at Princeton. This includes sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating and domestic violence, and stalking. First and foremost, we emphasize that we share Princeton University's stated values and commitment to ensuring that our community members can learn, work, and thrive in a safe, supportive, and fair environment free from sexual misconduct and all forms of discrimination. We share with Princeton's trustees, administration, and faculty a desire that this community flourish as a place for learning, a space for growth, and an example of education for the common good. We recognize that this institution is only as strong as its people, and it is with that in heart and mind that we offer this appeal. While the university commits to these values in theory, in practice, we see ways in which people have been hurt by the failure to uphold them. Many of us have individually tried to pursue conversations for reform. Sadly, these attempts have not resulted in visible changes in the system. We call for the reform of Princeton's procedures regarding sexual and interpersonal violence. We ask for more. Princeton is and can be better than this.
Yes.
Title IX is a vital federal law that protects the civil rights of people of all genders and is a source of university processes to hold perpetrators of violence accountable. We are indebted to all the people who have worked tirelessly during civil rights movements to pass this law, from which now we all benefit enormously. We seek to uphold the principles of this law, ensure Princeton complies with this law, and ensure Princeton takes additional measures to prevent and address this violence.
In 2014, the Department of Education found that Princeton was not in compliance with this federal law. 5 years later, Princeton's Title IX system remains broken. The system is plagued by a lack of transparency regarding the Title IX process and related decision-making procedures. Administrators and investigators have not communicated effectively or compassionately with survivors and those involved in Title IX investigations. Outdated precedents jeopardize the fairness of the adjudication process. We have reason to believe that Princeton Title IX office has violated FERPA and Princeton's own regulations listed in rights, rules, and responsibilities. And Title IX panels have not adequately collected and aggregated evidence and testimony regarding survivors' experiences. This statement outlines concrete actions that can be easily and quickly implemented, and we urge the university to do so immediately.
Yes.
We grieve the ways in which members of our community have felt unheard, unseen, and unacknowledged as they have suffered traumas that nobody should experience here. Students have felt silenced with false promises and placation. We lament that the values and convictions of this community have not been upheld, leaving our peers with a sense of isolation and marginalization. We appeal to you to hear them and to honor their stories. We exhort you to show greater concern for their welfare, their honor, and their dignity. We also note the tremendous desire to preserve the university's reputation, and we point out that the failure to care adequately for community members directly and negatively affects the university's reputation. Therefore, we ask that the university engage in dialogue regarding the systemic issues of sexual and interpersonal violence on its campus. We need a conversation.
This call is fully in keeping with Princeton tradition. We continue a vital legacy of students enacting change through prolonged demonstrations, reflecting the precedent set by movements such as the 1978 protest against apartheid by the United Front on South Africa, and most recently the 2015-16 protests by the Black Justice League. Even reforming Title IX implementation at Princeton will not solve the problem of sexual and interpersonal violence, particularly for survivors who are most vulnerable as a result of intersecting identities of race, gender, class, sexuality, and ability. Princeton's efforts to end sexual and interpersonal violence must extend beyond reforming its Title IX procedures. Many of our requests are rooted in the recognition that our society as a whole needs holistic, proactive, and preventative measures to end violence. The list below is a part of a broad, ongoing project of making our university the best it can be, a nonviolent, accountable, and people-centered space in which all are included, all are heard, all are honored, and all are respected.
Demand 1. We call for transparency and consistency in Title IX processes.
We call for an external review of the implementation of Title IX at Princeton, along with a parallel and incorporated committee for student oversight.
Number 3, we call for the establishment of an opt-in restorative justice track for survivors who wish to avoid the process of Title IX proceedings.
We call for the university to create a fully staffed Office of Intersectional Violence Investigation, which can address compounded violations, included but not limited to racist, sexist, homophobic, ableist, transphobic violence under an intersectional framework.
We call for the hiring of full-time professional social workers independent of the Title IX office, share, and counseling and psychological services to help survivors considering navigating the Title IX system and to function as their consistent advocates if they choose to go forward as complainants.
We call for a fund to assist students with costs related to mental health services.
We call for the immediate departmentalization of the program in gender and sexuality studies.
8. We call for improved, mandatory, and comprehensive sexual assault and Title IX training for all university hires and student leaders.
Number 9, we call for an international interpersonal coordinator to be immediately hired to work as a direct resource on issues of sexual misconduct and interpersonal violence for Princeton students while they are abroad.
We call for increased access to services for survivors of violence and diverse reputation within those services.
We call for the university to publicly maintain its commitment to protecting survivors' rights as outlined in current Title IX policy, in spite of proposed national rollback efforts.
Yes.
We share with the trustees, administration, and faculty a desire for Princeton to fulfill its vision of being a vibrant, safe learning environment for all. An institution is only as strong as its people are, and we exhort the university to continue to honor the dignity of its students by handling all Title IX cases with lawful integrity, greater transparency, and equity for students, staff, and faculty. The members of this coalition urge Princeton University to demonstrate its compliance with Title IX regulations by initiating third-party performance reviews and investigations. We ask the university to do everything within its power to ensure that survivors are supported, acknowledged, and honoured. We must equip survivors with full-time professional social workers, provide students and faculty abroad with easily accessible professional support, and create alternative avenues through which survivors can choose to seek accountability, healing, and rehabilitation. The university must pursue proactive measures to address sexual and interpersonal violence through academic inquiry, student leader training, and institutional resources for grappling with intersectional marginalization and violence. We insist on these changes to uphold the integrity of our institution and reaffirm the rights of survivors.